Howdy, everyone. 2022 is getting more and more packed. We got the juggernaut that is Elden Ring. On top of that, we got other hits like Horizon, Sifu, that Pokemon game I really don't care about, and
Chaos.
And then on top of that, we got a huge influx of games hitting Game Pass. We got PlayStation coming out with what looks like their Game Pass competitor. And we got Nintendo with their expansion pack. Nintendo, just add GameCube games already. Add GameCube games, I will buy your expansion pack, I promise. Well, guess what? There's even more. On March 25th, 2022, we got the release of 3 major games. First, there's Ghostwire Tokyo, a new IP from Shinji Mikami. Then there's Kirby and the Forgotten Land, the franchise's first attempt at a 3D title. And finally, we got that Tiny Tina game. I don't really care about it. I'm honestly not much of a Borderlands guy, but I did play 5 hours of Ghostwire and Kirby. So are they worth it or not? Let's start with Ghostwire. So Tango Gameworks. They put out a couple games such as The Evil Within 1 and 2, and that's really it. I've played a bit of the first game, I really couldn't get into it. Maybe it's worth a revisit sometime though. Well, during E3 2019, Ghostwire Tokyo was announced, and the world was introduced to Ikumi Nakamura. She went on to leave the project, but still, this moment was wholesome as Soon, gameplay was being shown, along with an announcement that the game was going to be a timed console exclusive for the PlayStation 5. It looked pretty interesting. I bought the game because I like to support new and weird ideas. We don't want a plague of sequels and reboots, do we? So the game begins, and I noticed that there are a ton of graphics options. We got quality, performance, HFR quality, HFR performance, HFR quality with VSync, HFR performance with VSync. At the time I'm recording this, the PlayStation 5 doesn't even have VRR up and ready yet. I switched between everything, but I mainly sticked with the regular performance mode. Another thing I've noticed is that Japanese is the default language. I do appreciate it for that, but I switched to the English dub because, well, I'm a pleb. I'm a normie. The game opens with this fog that's causing everyone in Tokyo to just disappear, Thanos style. And also these creepy things show up called the Visitors, and they don't look too friendly. So people are vanishing everywhere except this one guy, Akito. He gets to live because this spirit, called KK, no, not the dog from Animal Crossing, takes over his body. Akito gets to live, plus he gets some of KK's powers. So cool. It's kind of like Venom. The combat begins, and I'm hooked. It kind of plays like a first-person shooter, but instead of bullets, you're shooting out elements like you're the Avatar. I make my way through the hospital to look for Akito's sister, Mari, and the creepy vibe is just pulling me in. The trippy visuals and the enemy designs are all top tier here. Look how weird Slender Man here walks. Ghostwire gets an A+ when it comes to presentation. The combat gets pretty intense as well, especially when I'm trying to be stealthy. We get to Akito's sister, but this creepy guy with a mask kidnaps her for this ceremony or something like that. So now we have to get rid of the fog all around Tokyo to rescue her. The only way to get rid of the fog is by going to these shrines and cleansing them of all the enemies nearby. This is pretty much Ghostwire's version of the infamous towers that are in almost every open world game. So I go exploring and oh crap, a dog! And I can pet it! Ghostwire is a Game of the Year contender now. So I go on to find a Katashiro, this paper doll I could use to collect spirits that need saving. And then I can drop them off at a phone booth. If I save all the spirits in Tokyo, I unlock... Actually, I don't even know what happens. So, moving on. Anyway, why does Akito dial like that? I show up at KK's apartment, which kinda serves as my secret base.
How old are you? It's a safe house.
I took a look at his nice setup, I got myself a bow and arrow, I leave the apartment, and I find it surrounded by a barrier, which essentially causes supernatural interference. I have to destroy the barrier stones quickly before the entire apartment crumbles. And I gotta say, the imagery here looks so trippy and fantastic. Everything is twisting and falling apart, and here I am staring at some random guy's Blu-ray collection. So now it's time to track down the guy who's responsible for the barrier. I run into a tengu, this bird that I could grapple up to. Yeah, birds are fun. This is all a part of the platforming, which I didn't really get to do a lot of in the first 5 hours. But I hope that it becomes something more refined as the story goes on. The gliding actually works fine, but it does suck that for now, I could only grapple when birds are around. I also run into a line of shops, and they're all run by cats. That's freaking amazing. One of them sells taiyaki. I don't know how to pronounce it. But have y'all ever tried these? They actually taste really good.
I hate waiting for people to shop.
Oh, boo-hoo.
After cleansing another gate, I wind up learning the next element. Fire. Fire! Fire! As you can see, I'm a faster learner than the Avatar. Shortly after, I begun my first side mission. Spirits are getting sucked into a black hole. The spirit responsible for this is hiding in what looks like Chris Chan's house. I have to chase the spirit around and do these hand signs. This is one little gripe I have with the game. Doing hand signs is like doing a game of Simon. You simply have to remember the hand movements and repeat them with either the control stick or the DualSense's touchpad. The problem is that it's pretty irresponsive at times, but I eventually get to the spirit and kick his ass. After completing the side mission, I go on to cleanse some more gates. I find one underground and oh sh**! We got a demon witch lady. I'm throwing everything at her. At one point she disappears and oh crap, she's behind me and I die. My next destination is a shopping mall, so I show up and I do what I do best. I kill and kill and kill more of the visitors. Along the way, I do another side mission where I save this kid from some demon in a pond by using a cucumber as bait. Yeah, the demon is eating the f*** out of that cucumber and BAM! I like a cut cheat. I reach a rooftop and get some sun talismans. I get to test them on another creepy white dress lady. Further into the mall, I see another dog. Hell yes. I get to the very top of the mall and get a nice vantage point of Shibuya, featured in games like Persona 5 and The World Ends With You. So my next stop is a subway station. As I go deeper and deeper into this subway, I get even more trippy visions, like this. Eventually, I reach the first major boss fight. I'm firing everything I got left and right. Eventually he's dead. The creepy guy in the mask I've been fighting turns out to be KK's body. We get knocked out and then we get a dream sequence with Mari. Akito then wakes back up at the subway station without KK or his powers. So now I have to escape the subway station with no powers. For the next few minutes, this game straight up becomes a survival horror. I only have a limited amount of arrows and melee attacks at my disposal. I found myself having to run and dodge these enemies repeatedly. There was also some very nice imagery throughout. Like I said, the art direction in Ghostwire is just top tier. I want to buy an art book for this game. Back at the apartment, some random girl tells me to give KK this old picture when I see him again. I get a new talisman and start to follow this smoke path. I reach the building where KK is at. More visitors surround the place. I tried using that new talisman and it didn't do anything too useful, but I eventually make my way inside. I get KK back and I learned this thing called wiring in. It's pretty badass. My next stop is that beam of light where Mari is supposed to be, but instead I thought I would just step away from the story for a little bit and do some more side missions. I'm usually not much of a side mission guy, but I'm honestly loving these so far. They're mainly centered around spirits scattered around Tokyo who need tasks to be done in order to pass on to the afterlife. I spent about an hour playing through 4 of them. One involved finding this little girl's mother. In another mission, I bribed a dog with food to bring me to an Oni, this spirit that's heavily involved in Japanese folklore. For the next one, I had to go back to the hospital to save this girl who was supposed to get eye surgery. And for the final one I've done, I had to get toilet paper for this spirit who needed to take a massive
Paper! Need paper!
That's, quite the earthly regard to hang on to there.
After about 5 hours, I can say that Ghostwire Tokyo is an innovative and fun new IP from Bethesda and Tango. Plus it has very interesting lore attached. It's also nice that it never really takes itself too seriously. It's basically Venom mixed with Ghostbusters thrown into a Tokyo setting. This brings me back to the 6th console generation where publishers would take risks and put out just the weirdest games possible. It's between this and Elden Ring for my favorite game of 2022 so far. Unfortunately, it released in a time where a huge crowd of other new releases are dropping left and right, including this pink demon right here. Yeah, don't release your game the same time as Kirby or Kirby is gonna eat your asshole. Yeah, this pink mother is gonna eat you alive.